It's a troubling trend with ties to the Pikes Peak region, and it's gotten worse since the pandemic.
13 Investigates has found dozens of people who report paying for a pet they never ended up receiving. KRDO News Channel 13 investigative reporter Chelsea Brentzel explains how it works and how some southern Coloradans are being pulled into the deception without even knowing it.
It's easy to get lured in. These cute faces, bow ties, and little paws.
I was looking around and I saw Buddy, and I just completely fell in love with him.
Julia Bagliano knew it would be the perfect Christmas surprise for her son during the pandemic. She lives in New Jersey, but after her search online led her to 10-week-old French Bulldog Buddy in Colorado Springs, she couldn't resist. ChubbyFrenchBulldogPuppy.com told Julie the distance was no big deal. They transported pups like Buddy on airplanes all across the country. Julie only communicated with the breeder by text and email, but felt confident in the process, which seemed legitimate.
They asked me a few questions on what kind of a home I have, where do I live, are there other pets in the area, do I have a vet close by? So naturally I answered all those questions. And then they got back to me and said, okay, we feel that you're a fit, to take on Buddy.
Julie even signed a contract before using a bank payment app to pay for the puppy.
They wanted a payment from Zelle for $1,000. We moved forward with a delivery date, which was going to be, I believe, December 19th.
But at 2 a.m. on the delivery date, Julie got a text saying weather conditions would require a special crate for Buddy, costing $1,200 extra. Julie refused to pay another cent.
And it didn't stop there. I was contacted on a daily basis to a level that I was just arguing back and forth with this monster.
She was never able to talk to them on the phone despite multiple calls. After demanding a refund and getting nowhere, Julie eventually decided to file a report against Chubby French Bulldogs with the Better Business Bureau. She also posted negative reviews on the business Facebook page to warn others. The seller's phone number is a 719 area code, as listed on the website, and the contract Julie signed indicated the seller had an address here in Colorado Springs. We reached out to them multiple times over the phone and by email, but never heard back.
The Text Now subscriber you were trying to reach is not available.
13 Investigates then went to the address to try and track them down. The man who answered the door wasn't surprised.
The first time that I personally had somebody come here was right before Christmas. It was a gentleman who drove all the way from California, said he was here to pick up a puppy that he had purchased for his wife.
Since then, Irwin Spruth says 5 others have showed up on his doorstep trying to pick up puppies they bought. When Irwin realized fraudsters were using his address, he notified the Postal Service and Colorado Springs Police. He says a detective recently came out to interview him about the situation.
The fact that they're using your address fraudulently like this, how do you feel about that?
I feel terrible about it. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not involved in it in any way at all. I'm just an innocent victim, and I don't even know how they got my address or why they chose to use it.
Julie and Irwin aren't the only victims. 33 people reported being ripped off after paying for animals they never received in southern Colorado. And it's likely just a fraction of the victims, as the BBB says reports suggest only a third of people file scam complaints. The BBB estimates over $3 million was lost to pet fraud in 2020, with a median loss of $750 per victim. The Colorado Attorney General says pet scam complaints filed with his office have skyrocketed during the pandemic.
In the year before, we had a negligible amount. So we went from essentially a handful to 50, and over a 10x increase, because during the pandemic, people are preying on hopes and fears.
But these cases are difficult to prosecute because oftentimes it's hard to find those behind the fraud.
The best tips that we can offer is doing your research and checking out the business, checking out the website, doing a reverse image search on pictures of the puppies.
Now, during the pandemic, it may be difficult to see an animal in person. However, the BBB says it's worth asking if you can see them over video chat like FaceTime or Zoom, and be wary if you were told no. For other ways you can avoid falling victim, head to KRDO.com right now. Chelsea Brentzel, 13 Investigates.
I feel terrible for those victims who were duped out of all that money.
Thousands.